Hey everyone, and welcome back to the 9 Frames podcast. This is episode 58, and it is Wednesday, December 6, 2023. I am Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
Catch us as always on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share if you like the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it, as always.
Yeah, we move it on into the winter meetings week. Honestly, a slow-moving one, but still we got some exciting stories to talk about, and the Ohtani sweepstakes moves on.
Yeah, plus the draft order has been released as of last night, so we got some stuff to talk about.
Not to mention a trade between two very unlikely partners. For all that and more, stay tuned to the 9 Frames podcast. And now we move into the winter meeting news, and first and foremost, we will talk about the draft lottery being revealed. It is a pretty new practice for the MLB. It's not something they've often done, but they were trying to not promote tanking as a strategy.
Yeah, just the second year of the draft lottery for baseball, and yeah, like you said, it discourages tanking, and with the results of last night, it's clear to see that just because you're the worst team in the league doesn't mean you're going to get number one anymore.
Most definitely, I will read out the draft results now, and we will talk about why it is clear that the lottery is showing that tanking is not a winning strategy. Starting at number 10, you have the Washington Nationals, and that already jumps out at you because that's a last-place team picking 10th.
Yeah, very, very weird for them to fall that far, but I guess that's just how it goes.
Then you get the 9th picking Pirates of Pittsburgh. 8th place will be the Los Angeles Angels. Then 7th will be the Cardinals. 6th will be the Royals, a really bad team last year.
Yeah.
5 will be the White Sox, another team that needs that top pick. Then 4 will be the historically bad.
That's crazy.
Oakland Athletics.
How
did
did
be picking 4th
to not get a top 3 pick, because I don't think they were tanking. I think they were just straight up bad.
When you name those teams right there, picking 6th with the Royals, picking 5th with the White Sox, and picking 4th with the Athletics, man, those are probably the 3 teams that needed the top 3 picks more than anyone else, and they'll be picking 4 through 6.
Yeah, especially when you see how the top 3 shook out. It's pretty crazy considering one team almost made the fucking playoffs.
Yeah, pretty wild. They went over 500, who will be picking first, which is something that is unheard of.
Over 500? Are you sure?
No.
No.
Did they not?
No.
Or were they just slightly under?
Yeah, they were under.
Okay, well, either way, in 3rd place will be the Colorado Rockies, which obviously we're going to be pretty high up there. Then 2nd is surprising here, the Cincinnati Reds, who we were talking about up until pretty much the end in the wild card race.
Yeah, they almost made the playoffs. They fell out of it just at the end of the season. So for them to have the number 2 pick with the season they just had and the future on the horizon, that's a pretty good get.
And then the number 1 pick goes to, congratulations to the Cleveland Guardians, will be making the first pick. This is pretty wild, man.
First time in their franchise history that they'll be picking 5th.
Yeah, this is another...
Or first, I mean, not 5th.
Right. This is another 3rd place team here. So, I mean, not even 4th or 5th, and you get the first pick. Unheard of in baseball, obviously, as this is the first 2 years with the lottery.
Yeah, and the Reds were also a 3rd place team, and they're picking 2nd, so...
The Guardians have picked 2nd 5 times in their history, but this will be the first time they pick first, as you said.
Ohio was the big winner of yesterday with the Reds and Guardians both getting number 1 and 2.
Very true. Should be huge as they try to build talent for the future. Now we will move it on over to what is the biggest story of the winter meetings, you would think, as apparently a decision is looming for Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, they're saying it could be as soon as this week.
News came out, which, I mean, I count this as a leak, which sounds like bad news to me. Shohei Ohtani met with the Blue Jays at the team's spring training complex in Florida on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how serious Ohtani's going to be with the leaks leading to him being discouraged to sign in a particular area because of what we saw with the Dodgers, too, and what Dave Roberts, he completely spilled the beans about a meeting with him that lasted a couple hours. So
yeah, he opened his meeting, too, right away by saying that the Dodgers also met with Shohei Ohtani in L.A. a couple days ago. So that would have been before the Blue Jays meeting.
I think that's probably the front runner for him because it's just he's not going to have to move too far. They're going to pay him what he wants, and he gets to stay in a big market like L.A. and play for a winner now with guys like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he?
Interesting that this week is the week that news comes out that he has met with the Blue Jays and Dodgers. We will have to see how serious he is about not wanting those leaks to come out and holding it against that organization.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We've never really seen a free agency like this for somebody as highly regarded as he is. For him to want to keep it so secret, because you'd think the leaks getting out would and could potentially raise his price tag.
Yeah, I think his main concern here is that when he gets there, he wants it to be hush-hush, and he doesn't want everybody to be yapping about what's going on with the team and him.
I guess he knows that he's going to be making a fair chunk of change, like the most ever in North American sports for one player. But, yeah, I don't really know. I don't know why he wants it to be so super secretive, but I guess teams don't appear to be honoring it.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting that according to Bob Nightingale, the Dodgers GM Brandon Gomes was quote-unquote surprised that Dave Roberts opened up to the media about their meeting with Shohei Ohtani, so not great news.
Yeah, it was one of the only things that Ohtani said not to do, and he went right ahead and did it. Dave Roberts is a bonehead, and hopefully that doesn't cost them such a big... I mean, that's a franchise player.
Agreed. Sticking with the Nightingale news, apparently the Cubs' hopes of landing Shohei Ohtani have significantly waned. Not much context as to why, but yeah.
Interesting enough, also, I saw a later quote that said that the Cubs GM Jed Hoyer had some stern words for Nightingale about that getting out. So maybe that's not even true.
Yeah, and maybe the Cubs are trying to stay as faithful to Ohtani, not letting those leaks out.
Yeah.
They're one of those teams that are trying to stay in on him.
Yeah, and he was just pissed off that his name was attached to Ohtani in the media.
Very fair. If that's the last thing you want to get out, it would make you angry.
Yeah, definitely.
Some more Ohtani news here. A clubhouse source. I wasn't sure what this means. That's how John Heyman put it. A clubhouse source. Not sure if that's Ohtani's clubhouse, if that's the Angels clubhouse, literally somebody leaking it. Someone said that Shohei Ohtani said he quote unquote couldn't see himself playing in New York.
Bro, he did not say that. I'm just going to straight up, he did not say that. He would not say that, because that's eliminating two teams that can pay him insane amounts of money, and he would just be... If that's true, Ohtani's dumber than we thought.
You think?
Yeah, between the secret meetings and ruling out two of the most heavily payrolled teams, I mean, you're an idiot.
I mean, if you're that kind of free agent and you want to stay on the West Coast, you can get your money there.
Well, it's going to be a little bit harder to root for somebody like that.
If that's true, yeah, I mean, he just probably cut himself off from half the league. He probably wants to stay in the West.
Also, if there's one person I really don't trust the word of, it's probably John Heyman.
That is true.
My man makes stuff up.
He has made some misreports. It is a year to the day of the arson judge tweet, actually.
So I don't know how much I'm going to believe John Heyman, especially when he says something like a clubhouse source, because what the hell does that even mean?
Grain of salt on the...
What clubhouse? He's not in a clubhouse.
I'm not sure which clubhouse he's talking about.
The free agent clubhouse?
No, this could have happened during the season in the Angels clubhouse.
Or it didn't happen.
Yeah,
and John Heyman made it up again.
That could be very true. We have back-to-back Nightingale and Heyman reports coming out about Ohtani. So grain of salt on all that, folks. But we might be getting a decision very soon. The finalists, as of right now, seem to be the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, hometown Angels, and the San Francisco Giants.
I am going to just say he's going to end up a Dodger. I don't think it matters what Dave Roberts said. I don't think he's that stupid. Because if you're going to cut... So basically according to Ohtani, he's not playing in New York, so those two teams are gone. The Dodgers leaked it, they're gone. The Blue Jays leaked it, they're gone.
Well, he didn't say that if you leak
he said he would hold it
against them. What that actually means is kind of vague.
So if a team like the Giants doesn't leak anything...
Which apparently, and I mean, so far they have not. It could be...
Just that they're interested.
And man, what news would that make if... We see all of these leaks coming out. You don't hear anything about the Giants.
Screw you guys. I'm going to San Francisco.
He signs a big deal with San Francisco. It would be huge. But that is all the Ohtani news we have for you guys for the beginning of the winter meeting, and it's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, and I don't really think it's going to stop until he stops. The meetings. When he signs, that's when it stops.
It's looking like we're down to 4 teams. Cubs are convinced that they're not out. That would make it a handful. It would make it 5.
I don't think the Mets or Yankees are out either. I don't care what John Heyman said. He didn't say that.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Keep an eye on that Ohtani news. Moving on over, I wanted to mention this quickly because it's worth mentioning right after Ohtani. The Angels GM has come out and said there is no chance that Mike Trout is going anywhere. He will be playing in Los Angeles for the Angels next season.
As he should, and that'll be interesting because if Ohtani does end up going to the Dodgers, that means Trout and Ohtani are now in-state rivals.
Yeah, and now that the calendar works, I mean, I think LA probably played each other every year like New York does anyway, but now with the calendar, everybody plays everybody. No matter what, Trout and Ohtani will be playing each other next year if Ohtani leaves.
And when he gets healthy enough to pitch, if Trout's still there next year,
Could
which
be
you'd
really,
assume,
really fun to watch.
we're getting that World Baseball Classic, but it could be multiple times a year now.
And so, folks, don't get your hopes up on seeing Mike Trout in any threads besides Angels Red for probably a long time.
Probably the rest of his career. I really didn't think he was going to get traded. It doesn't make sense to trade somebody like Mike Trout. I mean, the guy's shown nothing but loyalty to your organization.
Yeah, he never requested,
He never says anything.
Incited that he wanted to trade.
He never says anything. So
really great head-down guy, nose to the grindstone, and even with the Angel struggles over the year, has not even shown that he is frustrated or disappointed in them too much.
I'm just hoping that he can stay healthy this year because we need to see another healthy year of Trout before the prime runs out or runs a little thin.
Fully agree. Best of luck to Mike Trout this season and the Angels as they try to get back on track. I wanted to mention this one real quick, too. It has come out that the Toronto Blue Jays, man, we are saying their name a lot. They are in on Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Yeah, they're shaping up to be a big player this offseason.
Or a big disappointment. It could be really disappointing if you keep hearing the Blue Jays' names and all of these big signings and they don't make any of them.
Yeah. I mean, not even just signings. They were linked to Soto as well, so...
They have most recently been linked as the front runners for Soto, so yeah.
I don't know if
the Yankees.
I don't know if that's true anymore with what we got going on.
Yeah, there is a lot going on for sure. But Toronto in on Yamamoto, and it should be interesting. I'm not sure what their chances are in bringing him in because it's a pretty late mention.
I mean, if they're in on Ohtani and Soto and they miss on both of them, they could shift full attention to Yamamoto and then be a big player. So who knows?
Yamamoto only has till the beginning of January. Well, I think it was either the 2nd or the 4th. So, I mean, yeah, the 4th. Teams will have to make that decision soon on Yamamoto as well as him making it which team he wants to play for.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned in the intro now, we will talk about a trade between some unlikely partners, man. The Yankees and the Red Sox make a trade. This does not happen often. The Yankees will be acquiring the left-hand bat of Alex Verdugo, the great outfielder too, great glove, in a trade for 3 pitchers. Richard Fitz, Greg Weissert, and Nicholas Judas. That is Jeff Passan.
Yeah, I think it was, only the 6th trade that the Yankees and Red Sox have made in the last 50 years.
Yeah,
so.
either 6th or 7th, but either way, man, that number is low. These organizations aren't on the phone a lot with each other, but they make this deal. Cashman had said that he wants to surround Judge with a couple of lefty bats, and it seems like they got their first one, which means that they are not out on guys like Soto or Bellinger yet.
Yeah, and there were reports that Verdugo might be a flip option to go to San Diego, but as of this morning, I saw that that's not happening. Verdugo is going to be staying put in New York, and he will be wearing a Yankees uniform.
Should be interesting. I was talking to a buddy who's a Yankee fan this morning. Should be super interesting to see what they do with the format of that outfield. Verdugo hasn't played center field since 2021. Judge is dealing with that banged-up foot.
There's your center fielder.
But he's got that banged-up foot. You want to put extra miles on that?
They're going to do it.
The most mobile position in the sport if they move Judge on over to center field, and they were benching him up until the end of every 3rd game last year.
I would put Verdugo in center and just see
Give
what
it a
happens.
try.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it'd be smart to put Judge in there with his injury history.
My personal opinion on the Yankees, I think it would be genius for them to sign Cody Bellinger to be the full-time center fielder and be that other lefty bat that Cashman mentioned.
Yeah, because even if you get Juan Soto, he can't play center either.
No, he hasn't. You know, he
can't. He's not quick enough to be in center field.
I mean, he's considered a pretty common fielder, so we'll have to see what they do with their actual placement of players. But the Red Sox in this deal, they get one major leaguer. The 28-year-old Greg Weissert has pitched in the majors, posting a .460 ERA over 29 appearances the last 2 seasons. Richard Fitz is the 12th ranked Yankees prospect, and Judas is only 22 years old and hasn't even made his pro debut since he was only drafted this past July.
Yeah, and we know all about Verdugo. This year he hit .264. He slashed .264, .324, 421. with 37 doubles, man. So he had a decent amount of doubles.
Yeah, I mean, 421 slugging, that's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, 5 triples, 13 bombs. He's never been a high power guy, but that might jump up in New York with that short right porch.
For sure.
54 RBI in 142 games, so he's been all right. I mean, he's only expected to be like around $9.5 million in ARB this coming offseason, so I'd pay Alex Verdugo less than $10 million.
Yeah, I mean, if the focus is getting a couple of lefty bats to put around Judge and knowing that short porch that the Yankees have and that the AL East as a whole is a lot of hitters' ballparks, I think, and Verdugo has done well in it in the past. I think we'll see him continue to do well and thrive in Yankees pinstripes. It'll be weird to see the beard go, though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't think he's going to be able to wear the grills anymore like he does.
I mean, I don't know.
The Yankees
about
don't
that.
allow shit like that, so we'll see what Alex Verdugo ends up looking like, maybe a shell of himself.
My last statement on this Yankees trade, because I think it's worth noting. Last week's episode, one of the episodes, we mentioned that they were in on trade talks with Charlie Blackmon to be one of those lefty bats.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
But I think here, this is a big upgrade to that.
Yeah,
no disrespect to Charlie Blackmon right now, but you got to take Verdugo, who's thrived in the AL East in the past.
Yeah, definitely a smarter option, just on age alone. I mean, and financially speaking, I'm pretty sure Blackman's owed more than $9.5 million.
Yeah, I think it's something like 12 for him or something. So I mean, I'm
saving a little bit.
taking Verdugo for 3 less as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was a smart move for the Yankees, and they're not out of it. Talks are still very, very hot this morning with them to get Juan Soto.
Yeah,
so
I've seen that there could be a
could
deal
happen.
announced today.
Yeah.
Who knows? The winter meetings, man. These guys aren't on the phone. They're talking to each other face to face, and it makes deals happen very fast.
definitely.
Talking about deals and sticking in the AL East, the Orioles are looking to bolster that bullpen after the injury to their great closer, Felix Bautista. They are seriously engaged with future Hall of Famer, probably, Craig Kimbrell, and they are closing in on a deal per Ken Rosenthal. So
Yeah.
that could happen as early as today as well.
I think that's a really good match, the Orioles and Craig Kimbrell, especially with Batista going to be being on the shelf for the better part of the beginning of 2024, and he may maybe even be out the whole year. We don't know yet. They got their closer now after Cano, and even if Batista comes back, you slide Kimbrell to the 8th, and then you could put Batista back in the 9th. So
I like this deal a lot. Like you
strengthen
said,
the bullpen.
It takes a lot of the pressure off of Cano as well. He was basically having to step into what is the most dominant closing. It was the most dominant closer in the league until his injury. He was getting Cy Young votes, so that just goes to show how good Batista was this year.
Yeah, it'll relieve the pressure a little bit.
And he goes back to his 8th inning role, now working behind a future Hall of Famer. Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
I like the deal for the Orioles if they get it done, and it'll be interesting to see how much money that is.
I agree, yeah, because Kimbrell's getting up there in age, so I'm not really even sure how many years it'll be. It could be another 1-year deal. We don't know.
Very true. We will move on over to another pitcher who had a sweepstakes going for him this week. Eric Fetty, the former World Series champion in 2019 with the Washington Nationals. He went over to the KBO this year, went 20-6 with a 2 ERA, phenomenal season, and now he is coming back over to the majors. The finalists for him were the Mets and the White Sox, but the White Sox do get him on a 2-year, $15 million deal.
I can only think that he went to the White Sox over the Mets for pressure purposes.
I think there's a couple of reasons, but yeah, that's probably number one.
It can't be the money because we were going to give him $77.5 million.
Yeah. I think my reason, besides the pressure, like you said, would be that he has a guaranteed starter spot in the White Sox
That too.
organization. The Mets next year, I think, especially with them being in on Yamamoto so aggressively, and
A bunch
even
of pitchers.
Imanaga, other pitchers,
Montgomery.
Giolito, Montgomery.
Snell even maybe.
We could have too many cooks in the kitchen, and I think Eric Fetty coming over, he wants to really get his feet wet, and I think the White Sox would be the perfect organization for him to thrive on.
Yeah, and it's good to see the Mets as a finalist for somebody like that. I mean, they're going to keep their fingers in every single cookie jar, so...
Former World Series champion and a KBO star is coming on over. Let's see how he does on White Sox Threads next year.
Yeah, and we're going to keep it with the Mets now, who did not get Eric Fetty, unfortunately. But they did, however, come to an agreement with Jose Iglesias, veteran infielder, on a minor league deal with a big league spring training invite.
Not bad at all. I like it a lot. 2023 is just the first season that he hasn't played in the majors since 2014, where he missed due to injury. He didn't make the club in spring with the Marlins. opted out of his minor league deal April 20th and had a pretty decent season in AAA for the Padres, but now he's coming over to the Mets, and I think it's a pretty good depth move.
I think it's a sneaky good depth move, and we definitely will see him on the Major League roster this year. He might make the team out of camp. Who knows what kind of spring he has.
Yeah,
he's proven he can hit.
I mean, in 2022, grain of salt because he was playing in Colorado, but he slashed 292, 328, and 380. Pretty solid, and he's a career 279 hitter.
Yeah, so I mean, a 280 hitter, that takes away the Colorado thing because he's done it everywhere else. Boston, Detroit. I mean, the guy's he's proven he's a decent hitter, and we know he's got a good glove, so it can't hurt.
That being said, I do think the Mets, like a lot of other organizations, are still really waiting on that big deal to come through.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're not done.
No, not at all, and we will see how active they are with that big checkbook. Moving it on over to Texas with our World Series champion Texas Rangers. They are signing Kirby Yates to a 1-year deal on unknown money as of right now. The club hasn't announced the deal.
I think I saw it was like around $4 million for a year.
Oh, well, if it's 4, that's lower than I thought it would be.
No, it was a good deal for them.
That's a very good deal for Texas to bolster the pen. Yates had a real bounce back last year. 3.28 ERA and 80 Ks in 60 and a third innings pitched after not being able to pitch much for the last couple of years before that.
Yeah, he did have a good year for the Braves this year, like you just said, and to join the World Series champs, the defending champs, it's got to be a good feeling for him to go from a team that won 105 games to a team that just won the World Series. It's not really much of a downgrade.
No, not at all. And the Texas Rangers, while they did win the World Series, were a very imperfect team in the fact that they had a lot of struggles in their bullpen, being a very middle-of-the-pack bullpen. Everybody, Chris Young included, has said that their number one goal in this offseason is to bolster that pen, and I think it makes perfect sense.
As they should, because a couple guys like Chapman are not going to be there. Matt Bush is a free agent. They didn't really use him much this year, but he's also going to be gone. He won't be an option unless they bring him back. So it's a good start, definitely.
Yeah, they pair Yates with Josh Sborz and Jose Leclerc, who seems to have re-earned the closer position there. Moving it on over to Atlanta now, the Braves, where Kirby Yates was coming from. They trade, this is a quick flip, they trade Marco Gonzalez, who they just got from Seattle, to Pittsburgh for a player to be named later and cash considerations. I like this deal for Atlanta if they weren't going to use him. This is $12 million off the book for Marco Gonzalez, plus extra cash. And he's got a $15 million club option for Pittsburgh in 2025 after that.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal at all for the Braves, who are going to continue to try to add to their roster. And I guess they didn't really have a spot for Marco Gonzalez, so they sent him to Pittsburgh. And now, like you said, with Fetty, he's going to have a spot in Pittsburgh's rotation, you'd think, as opposed to Atlanta, where he would be struggling to crack it.
I like that you said that. That's actually exactly the point I was going to make, is that this is just like the Fetty situation. Maybe Marco Gonzalez can get his feet back under him and be even better than he's ever been before, because while he was at a 5.22 last year in 10 starts, he's been a guy who hangs around 4 for his career, and he's been a little bit below it on his best days, so we'll see if he can get back to that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's going to definitely have that spot, so we'll see how Marco Gonzalez adjusts.
Just wanted to mention another little thing here. I thought it was an interesting situation with the pairing of Joey Votto and the Cincinnati Reds seeming to be a thing of the past.
Yeah, I think that is over.
It was going to be interesting to see how they fill that hole. And it has now come out that Jonathan India could shift over to play first base and DH in 2024. What do you think?
I don't like it.
Nah, I mean, you want to keep his bat out there. The thing is, he's a decent glove over at second base.
I was going to say, why can't he play second? Who's taking over at second?
Well, I don't think it's that he can't play second.
No, but who's going to take over at second for him?
I'm not sure what the plan would be.
That's what I'm saying. Are they going to call up another kid? Are they going to try to fill in through free agency? I mean...
Yeah,
why wouldn't you just try to sign a first baseman?
You'd think you would, because there are a couple still out there for sure.
Go out there and get somebody like Carlos Santana.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see how the Reds fill that hole, but moving a good, solid second baseman on over there, that's not the way I thought they'd fill it.
No, me either. I mean, I'm not a fan of it. I don't like moving people like that as much as you can avoid it, but it doesn't really seem like it's a necessary move for them, so I guess... we'll see why they're doing it.
Yeah, those Reds will.
If they do it, because it's possible. They said could play.
Could play, yeah.
Not will.
And his team, the Cincinnati Reds, like we said earlier, will be making the second pick this July.
So, hey, maybe they just draft a second baseman.
Maybe they will. We have seen some quick call-ups recently where it only takes like a year or so. Our last little point I wanted to say here of the episode, because I thought it was nice, but also very unexpected. Chris Archer becomes a special assistant in baseball operations for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I didn't hear him call it a career, but it looks like he's done that, and now he will be working in a front office role for the Dodgers. Congratulations.
Yeah, I had no idea that Arch was hanging it up, but, I mean, he seems like he knows a lot about the sport. I mean, he had a 10-year career in the
very
bigs.
Solid, and he's a former All-Star as well.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, he was the headliner in that Glasnow Meadows trade from Pittsburgh all those years ago. So, congratulations to Chris Archer on a pretty good MLB career, and now he gets to transition into the front office right away.
A player I know I will at least fondly remember. Congratulations to him on a great playing career, and best of luck as you move forward into a front office role.
No better team to join a front office role than the Dodgers, though, right?
Very, very true. Thank you to everybody for watching and listening, wherever you do, as always. This was episode 58 of the 9 Frames podcast, and it is Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. I've been Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
Catch us, as always, on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoy our show.
Yeah, and as we get closer to Christmas, we'll see if your favorite teams, deliver a Christmas present in the form of maybe a Shohei Ohtani.
Man, winter meetings are rolling on, and we are in the middle of the week, and I'm telling you, I'm getting antsy right now. We said we can expect a decision this week, winter meetings, and and Friday, man, you got to get it going.
Yeah, and I think, speaking of Christmas coming early, I think Yankee fans, keep your eye on the on social media today. You might have a very early Christmas present in the form of Juan Soto.
Could be talking about a phenomenal player coming at you for what is going to be probably 162 games, because that's what Juan Soto does.
Yep. So we appreciate all the constant support as usual, and we're going to continue to roll on as baseball's offseason does.
Hope to be reading some big news to you guys on Friday, and that is when we will talk to you next.
Enjoy the rest of your middle of the week.